'Tis grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace that fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, with endless days to sing God's praise. And when we first begun.
Thanks. Let's end up at 10:26. Can we move, if you have the teal hymnal, to number 1026? It's Every Woman in the World. It's a plea for peace and to end all wars, which is always something to keep in mind. 1026.
Do you want to have your own? Do you want to hold one? 'Cause there's one right over there.
Okay.
If every woman in the world had her mind set on freedom, if every woman in the world dreamed a sweet dream of peace, if every woman of every nation, young and old, each generation, held her arms out in the name of love, there would be no more war. If every man in the world had his mind set on freedom, if every brother stood with brother as a witness for peace, if every man of every nation, young and old, each generation, held his hands out in the name of love, there would be no more war. If every leader in the world shared a vision of freedom, if every leader in the world shared a sweet dream of peace, if every leader of every nation went for friendships and cooperation, holding hands out in the name of love, there would be no more war. If every nation in the world set a true course for freedom, if every nation raised its children in a culture of peace, if all our sons and all our daughters reached in friendship across the waters, refusing to be enemies, there would be no more war.
Good morning. Welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill, Unitarian Universalist. I'm Kevin Baston, a member of the Worship Associates Ministry. I especially want to welcome any visitors or newcomers to our church and to call your attention to this special note for you, Welcome Guests and Newcomers, which is on the back side of the order of service. I would also like to welcome those of you attending online. Lyrics to hymns and all elements of the service may be found on the live stream screen, and the complete order of service, including this week's announcements, is available via the link in the Sunday morning email and on the church website. An in-person Sunday social is held immediately following the service. Please turn off or silence any cell phones during our service to help maintain a worshipful experience. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. And now, we'll have a Within These Walls this morning, and Kathleen Farinola will speak to us about our upcoming church auction.
Good morning. I have some good news about the church auction. We now have more than 330 items. What? 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 White Rabbit, what? What is the problem?
Too late for the church auction.
Oh no, White Rabbit, you're not too late for the church auction. You still have, I see, but you still have 6 more days until noon on this coming Saturday, October 14th, to place your bid. But it is getting rather late, so you want to get your bids in.
Oh geez, my fur and whiskers. I still can look at the thing online and put my bid in.
Well, yes, and there's a lot of incredible items on the church auction. There are wonderful creative dinners, there's artwork, there's garden items, books, all kinds of things. It's a wonderland of auction items. There's even a tea party, for sure. And you, White Rabbit, and all of you here can be part of building the church auction community, which is a lot of fun as you share items with each other and share special events. And it's also an important fundraiser for the church budget. So we really need your support and everybody's support. And it's not too late, but you really do need to get busy.
Don't be late. Don't be late. It's a very important day. No time to say hello and goodbye. You're not too late.
I have to follow that. But I'll try. Please stand in body or in spirit for our opening hymn, number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are, which is in the gray hymnal.
We'll do this twice in unison, then we'll do it as a round, I think a 4-part round.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come.
Our call to worship this morning is by David Blanchard. Come down off the ladder. Wash out that paintbrush. Shake the sand out of your shoes. Get up off your muddy knees and give the garden a morning off. Fold up the newspaper, turn off the coffee pot, close up the calendar, already filled with dates and times and people and places that claim you. This church is ready for you to fill its rooms, to create its spirit, to generate its warmth, to kindle its light. This church is ready for you to make community, to create beauty, to bend it toward justice, to serve its ideals. This church is ready for you to be here, honoring our past, invigorating our present, and dreaming our future. This is your church. Here we are home. Here we are whole. Let us begin. Come, let us worship together.
You will find the words to the chalice lighting in your order of service. If you wish to do so, please join me in reading. Into this home, we bring our hunger for awakening. We bring compassionate hearts and a will toward justice. Into this home, we bring the courage to walk on after hard losses. Into this home, we bring our joy and gratitude for ordinary blessings. By our gathering here, we bless this place. In its shelter, we know ourselves blessed.
I chose this piece the choir is about to do, the Thom because we're having a welcoming new member recognition ceremony right afterwards. And the lyrics to the song are, come in all two-legged beings, come in all people, there is good life here, come in. And it was gifted to the composer by Corey Campbell, who's a Canadian First Nations member of the Ojibwe tribe. And that's what we're going to sing. So this is to help welcome our new members.
At this time, we are going to honor those who within the past several months have made the decision to become members of this church community. We hold new member recognitions 3 times during the church year, once in October, once in February, and once in June. The people whose Rachel's names is going to read in just a moment are folks who have taken the Exploring Membership class and understand the rights, responsibilities, and expectations of membership. Rachel's going to read first all the names of people who've joined since our last new member recognition, which was last June, on June 11th. And then she's also going to read a second set of names, which were folks who were honored last June but weren't able to make it and want the chance to come up and stand. So as Rachel begins reading names, if you are either a person who hears your name or if you're a person who thinks your name is going to be read, you're welcome to come up, and you can sort of stretch out in front of the pulpit and sort of along this and however long it takes. Be close. So Rachel, take the microphone away from me.
Rena Lavender, Ella Rosen, Rose Graysmith, Emily Vano, Annie Duty, Joanne Dunn, Dallas Stromberg, Nan Gwynn, Janet Stevens, Jean McKenna, Josie Caves, Lynn Hendy, Peter Hendy, Audrey Lambert, Dean Block, Vijay Sivaraman, Allison Proven, Chris Proven, Heidi Reese, Colleen Blue, Genevieve McGuffin, Dan McGuffin, Nan Jakubowicz, Liz Ryan, and Carol Parker.
Wow. We're going to need 2 rows, do you think? On behalf of the Welcoming Ministry, it is a joy to welcome you into this community of memory and hope. Each time we welcome a new member, we become something new. So we ask you, as our newest members, will you promise to walk together with us, sharing the joys and the responsibilities of membership? If so, please say, we will. We will. Members of the Community Church of Chapel Hill Unitarian Universalist, will you welcome these people into our congregation? Will you reach out to them in friendship, including them in our activities and fellowship? Will you be open to their unique gifts and perspectives? Will you extend a warm welcome to each of them, remembering that each of us was once a new member? If so, please say, we will.
We will. Becoming a member of this church is an important first step, but it is only a first step. I charge you new members to grow in your faith, but more importantly, I charge you to find and share your special gifts with us. Ours is a shared ministry. Each of us has a crucial role to play, and we need you. We need your energy, we need your ideas, and as you give generously of yourselves, we all become richer.
And now what's going to happen is that Rachel is going to make her way down the line, offering each person a chalice pin so that you can wear your faith on your sleeve. And then Ellie is going to follow, offering each of you a kind of a welcoming bag with some goodies in it. And then I'm going to follow, offering a handshake. I know, I'm the disappointment. And after we all make our way through everybody, then we're going to applaud all together, and then we will go back to our seats.
Thank you.
And we can.
Please join me now as we take this time to consider the joys and sorrows of this congregation. If you have a significant joy or sorrow that you'd like to share, please come down, and one at a time we will have you place a stone in the water, and if you can briefly share your joy and sorrow in the microphone.
Hello, I'm Mary Hewlett. Actually, I have a real quick joy, which is it's delightful to see so many new members. But I have a sorrow, not a sorrow, a concern. We just learned 2 days ago that one of the immigrants that we've been helping, we knew that her mother had passed away a couple of months ago. What we did not know is that the 3 children that she had to leave behind in Honduras, who were living with her mother, decided at that point to walk to the U.S. So the 3 children are at the border. The oldest, who was 22, was sent back to Honduras. But the 20-year-old and the 10-year-old girl are at the border. The mother does not know where. She doesn't know if they're safe. She doesn't know. They're on the Mexican side. That's all she knows. So please keep her, Blanca, and their children in your hearts.
I'm Rachel Rose, and I have a joy that our beloved Abigail Castaneda, our long-serving Sunday hospitality provider for over 20 years, is recovering well from her complete knee replacement, thanks in great part to the support of the members of this congregation. So thank you for holding her and her husband in your hearts. And also, every new member Sunday is a special joy for me. Thank you for being the kind of church that these folks want to join.
I'll place a final stone for the joys and sorrows that were not expressed today, for those things that we hold in our hearts, between our community and outside, that stretches all over the world. Let's take a moment to hold in love all those concerns, those feelings, those joys, and those sorrows. Thank you.
We're going to do something a little different for our meditation today. We are going to do an embodied meditation. And this can be done either seated or standing, but I want to invite you in body or in spirit to rise and join with me in this embodied meditation. And so this isn't This isn't dance or language, it is just movement. And I invite you to do what I do, and then each time through we're going to add a little bit. I want you to begin by placing your hands together. You're going to place them together. Slowly raise them up towards the sky. Bring a hand to your mouth and bring it out. Come back to your heart. I invite you to pretend like you're mixing a mixing bowl. I invite you to pretend like you're rocking a baby in your arms. That you take your hands and just bring them lightly in front. You can even wave your fingers. Bring your arms back and now bring it to some swoops. I invite you to take one hand and put it out. The other hand, put it out. It's like the Macarena. And I invite you to bend just a little bit to each side. I invite you to reach down. We're not touching toes here. We can just sort of reach down to our thighs, our knees. And then I invite you to come up and bring your arms up. You don't have to go too high. And then once again, to bring your hands together and raise them up slowly. All right. Let's do this again, and I'll add a piece to it this time. So there's words that go along to it. You may know them. But the words are like this: Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, and wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Shall we sing together? And now it is time for our offertory. Freely have we received gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit. Gladly we bring to our church and its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. If you wish to donate online, please point your camera at the QR code on the back of the order of service and tap the banner that appears. There's also information on the church's website. We will now receive the morning offering. This fall is a season of anniversaries in our church. Back at the end of August, we had a heartwarming, multi-generational service followed by an amazing luncheon celebrating both the 70th anniversary of the founding of our church in 1953 and the 30th anniversary of our joining the Unitarian Universalist Association in 1993. Next Sunday, following the second service, we're going to be having a celebration to honor the anniversary of Glenn Merbach serving as music director for 20 years with us, 2 decades of service as our music director, and so we hope you'll celebrate with that. By the way, I've been asked several times, I want to point out that Marion Hirsch, our director of religious education, reached the 20-year milestone in the summer of 2020. And in the summer of 2020, there was simply no good way to gather for a worthy celebration party. Remember that? And not 2021 either. And like so many of our milestones, like memorial services that you had to decide whether to hold or wait, weddings to put off or hold, graduations to not really be able to celebrate. One of the things we weren't able to do was celebrate Marion. But the good news is that we always have a chance to redeem ourselves, right? And so it just so happens that the year 2024 will mark 25 years of religious education leadership in our church by Marion. And I don't know, if we planned something special for maybe like the first weekend of June, that's just a thought. I think that would be really swell, just sort of throwing that out there this morning. But this morning I want to talk about a different anniversary, a personal anniversary, so this is a little indulgent. This month, October 2023, marks the 20th anniversary of my ordination as a Unitarian Universalist minister. Back in the spring of 2003, the Shawnee Mission Unitarian Universalist Church in the suburbs of Kansas City, then a congregation of not quite 200 members, voted to call me as their minister. I was 25 years old, and one of my memories of candidating week was that the congregation, at that congregation, was that there was also the same week that I was there, was the same week that the men's basketball coach of the University of Kansas Jayhawks, you may have heard of him, his name is Roy Williams, announced that he was resigning as coach of the Jayhawks to return to Chapel Hill. So I wound up doing a lot of pastoral care that week for the Jayhawks basketball fans. And I think it implanted something in my mind. After you go to Kansas, you go to Chapel Hill, right? Anyways, I began my ministry with them in August of 2003. And in October of that year, they ordained me 20 years ago this month. It's a little fun. I'm not going to show it now because you can't see it from here. But I actually dug up and found the headshot that I sent to that congregation in spring of 2003. So if I'll show it after the service if you find me. During the ordination 20 years ago this month, they presented me with this stole as a gift. They sewed hands on the stole. The hands they traced were of the newest baby in the church, a child, a youth, the hand of the longest tenured member of the church, and the hand of the newest member of the church, who had joined just a week before my ordination. The quilters of the church, they had quilters like we do, asked my input, and I told them that my favorite color was orange, and that they should make it as bright as they possibly could, because we were going to have so many people coming to church that the minister was going to have to go out and direct traffic after the service. And we did, and I did. And I was very brash at 25. But what I want to do this morning is preach from my own story, to talk about what drove me to become a church nerd, to share a few of my formative experiences in ministry, and to talk a little bit about what drives me still. I didn't have an easy time as a young person growing up. In elementary school and especially middle school and into high school, I struggled to fit in socially. During those years, I increasingly struggled with loneliness, with isolation, with depression. I felt like an outcast most of the time. When I wasn't consumed by angst, I was consumed by anger. And in this way, I was a whole lot like a lot of other young people. So often we falsely believe that we are alone in our struggles, when those struggles are shared. And in the midst of what I was going through, church saved me. Church, and especially the youth group of the First Parish in Wayland, Unitarian Universalist, was the place where I found a warm welcome and unconditional acceptance. It was a place where I could be myself, and a place where I could become myself. It was a place of meaningful, nourishing, life-giving, life-affirming connection. It was a place that encouraged me and nurtured me, that put its faith in me and nurtured me into faith and into leadership. It saved my life. I don't mean to be melodramatic, but I simply cannot imagine myself getting through those years of my life without the church providing me with roots to hold me close and wings to set me free. And that began my falling in love with church, my becoming a church nerd. I went beyond the youth group and beyond the district youth conferences that fed my soul. I grew to love the worship services. I studied the sermons and the hymnal. I was fascinated by the amazing people of the church, the ministers, the youth advisors, the volunteers, and I found myself finding ways to spend as much time with them as I could. I volunteered to teach second grade religious education. I read the UU World magazine cover to cover, memorized the principles. I became fascinated with this faith. I became a big old church nerd. I'm going to tell a story from my first ministry. When I first became a minister in suburban Kansas City, one of the first members to join the church was a middle-aged man. He poured himself into church involvement. He took over the church gardening. He sung tenor in the choir. He took my preaching practicum class. He even served as president of the church. And after some number of years as a member of the church, he asked to meet with me, and he came to my office and sat down and told me that he had been living his life in denial, trying to hide and suppress the fact that he was a gay man. He told me he was planning to come out in order to finally become the person he truly was. And this coming out was going to cause a lot of upheaval in his life. But that was difficulty that he had to face because he could no longer bear not to live the truth of his life. And I said to him, "My friend, you are beloved by me and by this church. We all love you, and we will all support you, and we will all cheer for you, and we will all have your back." And we did. And we did. Here's something I know to be true. Nobody ever shows up at a Unitarian Universalist church by accident. Nobody ever shows up at a Unitarian Universalist church for no reason. Nobody is ever like, "I wasn't in the mood for brunch today, so I'm just going to go for a worship service before my coffee. I hear they have coffee. Let me pick a random church to attend. Oh, look at this one. It has 2 U's. I'm going to go there." Nobody does that. The reasons that people come are varied. They are lonely and want deeper connection to community. They are parents who know that church is something they want for their children. They're wanting to work on something in their life. They are in pain, in search of healing. They want to make a difference in the world and work for their deepest values with others who share those values. Or they aren't completely sure what they're looking for, what their reasons are, but they know that there is a reason deep down, and they're hoping to find it and figure out what it is. Nobody ever shows up at a Unitarian Universalist church without a reason. And part of the great fun and great honor and great responsibility, and it is fun and it's an honor and a responsibility of being a minister, or of being a music director, or of being a membership director, or of being a director of religious education, or of being a religious education teacher, or of being a leader, or of being a member of the caring ministry, or of being a member of the welcoming ministry, or on, or on, or on. Part of the great fun and honor and responsibility is that you get to be a part of the transformation of the lives of the people who come through these doors. And you get to be a part of transforming your own life in the process. How cool is that? My childhood church welcomed me, embraced me, transformed me, brought me into the fullness of my life. How fortunate. That church in Kansas welcomed that man as a new member, embraced him, helped him to come out into the truth and the joy and the beauty of his life. Back at my first church, we grew. We grew in all sorts of ways, and we even grew in numbers. Rapidly, we nearly doubled in size during my ministry there. There were about 180-ish people, and when I left, there were around 340-ish. And I found myself through this ministry repeating mantras over and over, and I want to share with you some of the mantras that I said over and over. One mantra I've already shared: nobody ever shows up at a Unitarian Universalist church with no reason. Unitarian Universalist churches save lives. To fail to be welcoming is to turn away someone who wants this church's ministry. And another mantra, what became my favorite mantra: that's a good problem to have. Which I said and said and said. Practice saying it with me. That's a good problem to have. It's hard to find a parking space. Good problem to have. The sanctuary is full. That's a good problem to have. The babies are crying during the silent prayer. Like, every church would want that problem, right? And if it doesn't, it needs a soul. I love this. There are people I don't know. That's a good problem to have, right? How sad it would be if we knew everybody. These are the problems of a living, thriving church. I swear, do not ever get upset about being a part of a living church. It sure beats being a part of a dying one. And I want to weave in here another church story. I've got so many church stories that were formative, but I love this one. It's a funny story. On maybe my second, third, fourth time in the pulpit in suburban Kansas City, before I was even ordained, I selected Amazing Grace as the closing hymn of the worship service. That's why if you were here during the hymn sing at the beginning, when Glenn announced Amazing Grace, I kind of cracked up there. And in the receiving line after the service, someone came up to me and said, "I love Amazing Grace. We should sing that every Sunday." And then like 2 people later, and I swear they didn't overhear what one said, the 2 people later, someone said, "I hate Amazing Grace." We should never sing that again. And I wish I had had the presence in that moment to look at that person and say, there's someone I want you to meet. And this really happened, and it was striking to me, and kind of, it became one of my formative lessons in ministry, which was that neither person was going to be happy. We were not going to sing Amazing Grace every week, and we were never not going to sing Amazing Grace ever again. And if I had tried to make one person more happy, it would have made the other person less happy, and vice versa. And I decided that the only thing I could do would be to try to disappoint them both. And that maybe that disappointment would be part of their transformation if they came to understand that someone else's soul is deeply fed by what they don't like that much. Church is like that, right? Some people want amazing grace and some people do not. Some people want quiet stillness, and others want a warm, friendly, enthusiastic buzz with hugs and handshakes and how are you doing? Some people want lots and lots of God, and others don't. Some people want European classical music, and others want a rock band. Some people want the church to speak frequently about politics, and others less so. Some want the church to be bolder and more outspoken, and want the church to be an engine driving activism, and others less so. So it was, and it is, and it ever shall be. And that's the beauty, especially of a growing church, is that we actually can have a little bit of it all. It led me to my other mantra. What you most dislike is what the person sitting next to you most deeply needs. What you most dislike is what the person sitting next to you most deeply needs. And it's our coming together and meeting and sharing and fascination with each other that we actually get to hold that not with angst, but with joy. Nobody ever shows up at a Unitarian Universalist church without a reason. Unitarian Universalist churches save lives. To fail to be welcoming is to turn away someone who wants this church's ministry. That's a good problem to have. And what you most dislike may be what the person sitting next to you most deeply needs. So as we go forth, let this little light of ours shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Because there's someone down in the valley trying to get home. And our shining light might show the way. So it was and is and ever shall be. Amen. And thank you for letting me celebrate a 20-year anniversary with some thoughts back and some thoughts forward. Our closing hymn is a fun one to sing. It's not in the hymnal, so you don't need to pick up the hymnal for this one. The words are inside your order of service. It's a hymn called Life Calls Us On, and it's really fun, and I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as we sing out.
With a pledge to one another. Words and deeds of those before us, wicked here to keep us strong. Plant our voices in the chorus of creation's living song. Courage bids us lift our hearts upward to the shining skies. Hope calls us on. Hope calls us on. Loyal guides in love and duty, lead us with a trusted light. Blessed are they whose inward beauty shows the path of truth and right. Honor is the worthy prize. By their work we realize faith calls us on. Faith calls us on. We have shared a radiant hour when the truth has made us free, and the Spirit's gracious power dreamed of good that shall be. Bright the path before us lies. Joyful pilgrims now we rise. Life calls us on. Life calls us on. Life calls us on. Life calls us on.
Please remain standing in body or in spirit. The words for extinguishing the chalice are in your order of service. Please join me, if you wish, in saying them. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now please join me in thanking all who contributed to making the service worshipful this morning. Please join us in singing Shalom. The words are in your order of service. As you are comfortable, please either hold hands with the person next to you or cross your arms over your heart.